All right, welcome back to BAN-KAST, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Teching 101. This will be episode 31, Against the Judgment. Starting off with, let's be honest here, my favorite Bleach character, as everybody knows. My favorite Bleach character is and has always been Soifone, captain of the 2nd Division, absolutely. You know what, there was a running gag for a long time back when I did the original Bleach reviews, way back in the far-off era of 2015, which is almost 10 years ago now, which is insane to me. But it was like, Soifone sucks, she's awful. She's still not my favorite captain, but, you know, my hatred has lessened over time. Now, Yushiro, though, on the other hand, no. It's all good. It's all good. Okay. So, Yuha now has the power of the Soul King. That's not good. That's not good at all. He uses this divine power of the being that forged the 3 realms to make a bunch of eyeball monsters to attack the Soul Society. But actually he doesn't. He really doesn't do that. The explanation on what exactly these things are is that when Yuha is absorbing the power of the Reo, that's like a lot of power, okay? That's not something that you can just, even Yuha cannot just absorb in one go and then have complete mastery over, right? So it's like the power of the Soul King is leaving that prism, that crystal that it's bound in, and it's going into Yuha, but some of it is going to like overflow. And the explanation is the overflowing torrent of the Reo's power is flowing out of Yuha, and it's going down to the Soul Society, and there's a moment where the Royal Guard of the Sternritter are kind of, like, put off by this, like, whoa, what are these, like, eyeball monsters? Are they gonna, like, attack us? And Hashwolf has to, like, calm them down and say, oh, don't worry about it. We are not their enemies. These eyeball monsters that are like the physical representation of the Soul King's power are not going after the Quincy's, they're going after the Shinigami, which, if you know the backstory with the Reo, that actually makes more sense on why they would target the Shinigami and not the Quincy instead, considering it was the Shinigami that, like, ripped off the Reo's limbs and bound him into the giant crystal. So, that's interesting there. But yeah, we see these things jumping around. Soifone jumps up with her Jakuho Raikkoben. I mean, like, it would have made a really big boom, but she, like, immediately gets, like, gwomped by these things. We get some CG effects as Shinigami are running all over the place. This guy gets devoured. We have Shuhei, Yumachika, and Ikaku here. They have a really cool scene. Oh, yeah, this is a neat scene where we actually did get to see them, like, up close, what they look like. Yeah, we don't get that, like, close-up view in the manga. That actually looks terrifying. They look like some kind of, like, sea creature, like some kind of, like, sea urchin or something that's just like, need to devour you, Shinigami. You know, so that looks rather terrifying, and Shuhei is like, hey, this thing's trying to bite me. Trying to bite you? The thing looks like it's trying to freaking stab you and, like, take possession of your form or something, right? But anyway, yeah, so Ikaku's just like, yeah, that's crazy, man. That's nuts. We got to protect the lab. So this is a scene that's in the manga. They all go into their Shikai. We got Kaze Shini, Hozoki Maru, and Yumachika does not use Rurio Kujaku. He's just sticking with the regular Fuji Kujaku, which... Come on, Yumachika. I thought we moved past this at this point. You know, I always feel bad for Rurio Kujaku because, like, at this point in the story, I feel like it should be just, like they should be on better terms with each other at this point, and it's like, this is world-ending level shit, where these strange, like, torrent of eyeball monsters are rushing down to try to, like, devour the lab, and it's like, we need to defend this lab with our life, you know, the Soul Society could, like, this is a battle that could legitimately end with the Soul Society being destroyed forever, and Yumachika's like, well, I mean, I'm still not gonna go full power, and don't even say that, you know, maybe Ruri-Iro Kujaku is not, like, you know, meant for this kind of attack. Dude, the range on that thing is way better than the regular Fuji Kujaku, you know? He could extend out, like, the tendrils of Ruri-Iro Kujaku and maybe absorb the Ryatsu from these eyeball monsters, if they even have Ryatsu, if that's even how they work. Maybe not, maybe, I don't know. But I just find it interesting that it's like, no, I'm still gonna, you know, not call my Zanpakuto by its real name. I'm still doing this shit. And by the way, Ikkaku doesn't get a pass on this either. Ikkaku should be going Bankai right now. I know that Ryumon Hozokimaru is not as strong as it used to be. It was damaged pretty bad by Eterod Leones, and like Akon kind of like super glued it back together, so it's not in the best condition. But come on, Ruri Irokujaku and even a weakened form of Ryumon Hozokimaru would have way better range and way better destructive power to wipe out all of these things. And then you know what? While we're at it, Shuhei, you have a Bankai at this point in the story. I'm pretty sure you have a Bankai right now. Okay? Like, because later on when they get to the palace, he doesn't get a chance to use it, and like later on, like in the 10-year time gap, Rangiku's kind of giving him the business, and it's like, hey, you didn't even get a chance to use your Bankai during the war. And Shuhei's like, I had it, but I didn't use it. I didn't have an opportunity to. Well, right here, guys, all three of you are getting shit for this, okay? There you go. All right. I love how we're in the Bizarro universe now. I'm cool with Soifone, but Shuhei, Ikkaku, and Yumachika, they're getting shit. All right, there you go. But whatever. I mean, like, it's cool. I mean, they're using their attacks. You got Ikkaku spinning his staff around, his like Naginata spear looking thing. You know, Shuhei's okay. Kazushini is probably the best one suited for this, I would say, because he's got two blades connected by a chain, which, fun fact, I think the chain is actually what the Zanpakuto's Shikai is. Like, the true form is the chain. And so he's whipping that thing around, and they're wiping out this giant wave of eyeball creatures. It's a pretty cool scene, I suppose. Then a giant tidal wave comes down. And in the manga, there was a scene here where Byakuya just kind of steps out and is a boss, and he's just like, okay, well, the perfect technique to kind of counter this giant wave of monsters is obviously Senbon Sakura, you know, 1,000 cherry blossoms. So he uses Senbon Sakura, and in the manga, it seems like Senbon Sakura wipes out a good chunk of them, but they just keep coming, and it's just it's depicted way better in the anime here, where we have a giant wave of Senbon Sakura just rushing down the road of the Seirete, and it just crashes into the wave of monsters, but Senbon Sakura eventually does get overpowered, and the eyeball monsters are still coming. So at this point, I would imagine maybe Byakuya should jump into Bankai. You know, I'm just shitting on all of the Shinigami at this point. It's just like, you should have been using your Bankai. You should have been using your true Shikai. Byakuya, why aren't you going into Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi? You know? It's just like, yeah, but it doesn't matter anyway, because Eisen shows up and just crushes all of them. Yeah, so Eisen is here. And Rukia, by the way, Rukia, why aren't, you know what? It's okay, Rukia. It's okay. You get the pass. It's all right, because your Bankai could legitimately kill you. So that maybe a good idea why she's not using that. All right. So I won't shit on Rukia. I won't even shit on Renji. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. So Eisen makes an appearance, and he's in the indestructible chair. I feel bad for this poor little eyeball monster there that's crushed between Eisen's chair. Like, out of all the eyeball monsters that get a quick death, this guy has to just a slight little, oh no! All right. No, why waste time swatting them with a sword when you could just crush them with your spiritual pressure? Oh my god, Eisen is so damn sexy. No comment, Eisen. Not a single note that I can give you. You're doing great. You're doing fantastic, Eisen. All right, so Eisen is wheeled in on the indestructible chair of Muken. The chair does have wheels. Later on, we do see the chair. It has wheels, so it is a wheelchair. He gets wheeled in with Shunsui and uses just his immense spiritual pressure to destroy all of the eyeball monsters in the immediate vicinity there. And, of course, Rukia is immediately shocked and stunned by his arrival, because, you know, like, Rukia and Eisen particularly, I mean, she was the one that Eisen stored the Hogyoku in for, like, you know, but once again, I mean, this was not something Kubo planned at the very, very beginning of the story. He didn't even plan on, like, the Seirete and, like, the, you know, 13 captains existing at the beginning of the story. So now, looking back on it now, it is, you know, the idea that, like, oh, I'm going to have Eisen, you know, hide the Hogyoku inside of Rukia's soul. So that was the reason why they had to use the Sokyoku to, like, destroy her and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, that was, I guess, the ultimate idea. But that was not planned from the very, very beginning. In fact, I was actually just looking at a thing the other day that was pretty cool. I was looking at a promotional piece of artwork for Fade to Black. And, you know, I love Fade to Black. It's a really good Bleach movie. And it has Rukia using that giant scythe blade, like Dark Rukia. And that was really cool because the original idea of Bleach, of course, was Rukia using the giant scythe. Like, that was supposed to be her original idea, like, concept design. So, yeah, Rukia, though. No notes on Rukia either. She's great. Okay, so we get the opening title. Pretty cool here. They change a lot of stuff when it comes back to Ichigo and the Soul Palace. I'm actually really happy of how they did that, but we'll get to that at the end of the episode. They actually changed quite a little bit about the way this goes in the manga, and there was actually a change that happens that I was really happy about. And they just did it. They did the original thing in the manga anyway in the next episode, because I'm now an episode behind, which is actually not a bad thing because now I know what's going to happen next to temper my expectations with things. So at any rate, Eisen is nothing if not cordial. He's like, "It has been a while, Rukia Kuchiki. I would like to congratulate you on your promotion to lieutenant. I know you deserve it." It's so great that they're finally giving you the accolades you deserve for your distinguished service in the court guard squads. Good job, Rukia. So, okay, I mean, like, hey, he's being nice. Guys, Eisen has not done one thing that was evil yet. I mean, yeah, trying to, like, wipe out, you know, all of existence and, you know, create, I mean, all of the fake Karakura Town, you know, go into real Karakura Town, make the Oken, try to kill the Soul King. But that was like almost 2 years ago at this point. You know what I mean? Eisen has not done one evil thing in the entirety of the 1,000-Year Blood War arc yet. Arguably, he could have joined with Yuha, and then the Shinigami would have really been screwed over, but he chose not to. So maybe Eisen, maybe the 17-esque months in Muken was enough for him to change his tune with things. I don't know. But anyway, Kyoraku shows up, and he's like, "Hey, everybody, I Godzilla protocoled Eisen, so here we are. This is what we have." Just say it, and it's kind of like an idea. So look at who, you know, Shunsui is staring down right now. Okay, you got Shunsui and Eisen on one side of this, and then you got Rukia and Renji. They're kind of nervous because, like, you know, it's Eisen, and then you got Soifone, Morechio, Ikaku, Yumachika, Shuhei, and Byakuya. Right, and out of all of these characters, you know, Soifone and Byakuya are gonna have a thing to say about this whole situation. So Shunsui is kind of like, all right, you know, let's just get this out of the way. Let's just get over what we're doing here. Ikaku's like, I can't go along with this guy's help. This is the guy that, you know, almost wiped us all out. And so this is when Shunsui has to, like, remind everybody a couple of things. Number one, he has to remind everybody, hey, I'm the fucking head captain now, so this is my authority. But also the other thing you have to understand that's in, like, one of the first pages of the Soul Reaper handbook, like, your job is to protect the Seirete and the court guard. Like, that is the job of what we do. That is how this happens, okay? People are gonna die in that process. Honor might have to be breached. It's whatever, as long as we protect the world. That is what the Shinigami are meant to do. And this is not just like, if we fail, the Seirete goes away. I mean, that is true, but this is kind of like, this is literally world-ending type shit. This is like, if Yuha has killed the Soul King and absorbed his power, and if he has his way, then the living world, Hueco Mundo, Soul Society, all of that's going bye-bye, all right? Like, this is it. This is it. It's over, okay? Like, so I freed Eisen. We need his help. Like, that's how this goes down, all right? And later on, Byakuya says some shit of just like, oh, I guess you just don't trust in our abilities to do this, or I guess you don't trust in our power. Now, look, I'm not going to shit on Byakuya and Soifone too much for this. They grew up in, like, you have to understand the way they were raised. Byakuya was raised in a noble house, for God's sakes. You know, he's a member of the Kuchiki clan, so it's the idea that, like, hey, look, we're the ones that are supposed to be strong enough to defend the Seirete. We're the captains of the court guard squad. The fact you're relying on Eisen is kind of a slap in the face for all of us. Then again, Byakuya is a dude that really, you know, honor and things are really, really top level for him, right? Although he's kind of coming around more to, like, you know, family and stuff. But the idea is, like, yeah, it's slap in the face, okay? But it's like, Byakuya, deal with the slap in the face. Soifone, deal with it. And just, this is the way it is. You know what I mean? Shunsui has a really good line here, actually. He says, if you ask me, using evil to defeat evil, I do not believe is evil. All right? It's like, you know, this is Yuha, he's pretty evil. This is Eisen, also pretty evil. I'm using an evil guy to kill another evil guy. I don't think that's evil. I mean, let me know down below if you believe in, you know, Shunsui's philosophy here. But really, I just see it as like, okay, unless we bust out every single advantage that we have against the Quincy's and against Yuha Baha, unless we do that, then we're all gonna die. All right? Like, can you imagine if it's like they didn't release Eisen and they tried to go and fight Yuha and they all got wiped out and Yuha ends up ultimately winning and the last thing they think of, like the last thing before they all die is like, maybe we would have won if we released Eisen. Oh, well, guess we'll never know. And then all 3 worlds are destroyed and everything goes and, you know, Yuha wins. You know, game over, Ganon returns. Game over, Yuha wins. You know, like that's how it goes, right? So, yeah, you know, I'm kind of with Shunsui on this one. They have, Yuha didn't get Eisen. We have Eisen. Might as well use the guy. Now, Eisen is a little snippy about all this. He's not really happy about being used like this. He's like, hey, excuse me, that's all well and good. Can you let me out of this chair, please? You know, so I can actually, you want me to help you? You want me to use my immense god powers to help you? Maybe start by letting me out of this chair. And Shunsui's like, yeah, sorry, no can do. I'm not letting you out of the chair. And Eisen is like, you just went on this big speech on how, like, I'm gonna be the one to help you, but you're not even gonna let me stand up. And Shunsui's like, I know who the fuck you are. I know what you can do. I'm pretty sure you can make it work. Which is 100% true. And it just, like, the back and forth between Shunsui and Eisen, I wish they would have interacted more during the fake Karakura Town arc. They interacted a little bit, but, like, dude, this is actually a really nice kind of dynamic here, where Eisen is trying to use his manipulation tactics on Shunsui, and Shunsui is just like, nah, I know you, fuck you, I know you're super strong, I know that you can destroy these things by sitting down on a chair with only 3 of your restraints gone, I know what you're capable of, I know what you can do, so just do it. All right, it's not working on me, dude. All right. So he says, like, I don't think I have this kind of power right now. Like, bullshit. You know, these giant eyeball monsters are gonna just come down and devour you. Then I suppose that's just how that's gonna go down. So of course another wave of the eyeball monsters come down. Eisen just exerts his Ryatsu, his spiritual pressure around him, and that destroys a big wave coming right at him, just wipes him out right there, just destroyed. Okay, and it's like they're kind of like jelly whenever they get splattered. They just kind of land on the ground in just big black viscous like puddles. So that's kind of disgusting. Anyway, it's like, all right, well, that's who we have now. Eisen's like, you truly are a piece of work, Shunsui Kyoraku. And it's like, yeah, whatever. But now Eisen is gonna, because Shunsui kind of called him out, and he's kind of like, I know what you're capable of. Eisen's sort of dropping the act, and he's like, oh, okay. You want to see what I'm capable of then? All right, well, maybe this is a little bit more. Maybe you bit off more than you could chew here, buddy. So Eisen starts he starts gearing up for something. It's like it's like the feeling like right before lightning strikes. You know, you start like your hair starts standing up, you start getting the goosebumps like a lightning strike is imminent in your immediate vicinity is kind of how this goes down. And you know, Shutsui's like, oh shit, everybody get back to the lab right now. And so Eisen activates Hado number 90, Black Coffin, which is honestly Eisen's like favorite move. It's always cool to see it. It's neat to see it in the new animation style. So he uses Black Coffin while sitting down in the indestructible chair while restrained with like the black gimp suit and everything like that. So still pretty damn powerful. I think they mentioned the chair is the same. It's made out of the same stuff as the cross is from Muken, so it's also indestructible. They might actually mention the chair is stronger, actually. But at any rate, you know, I'm sure Eisen maybe could have used this technique while in Muken. Although you could argue, well, no, see, the way it works with the Keto is that there's incantations for Keto, and you can perform it without the incantation, but it's not as strong. But Eisen's mouth was bound while in Muken, so I'm curious if, I mean, it's Eisen, so he probably could have, like, because even if you ditch the incantation, do you still have to say, like, Hado number 90, Kuro Hitsuji, or could you just activate it without speaking? Either way, I feel like Eisen could have attempted this while in Muken. It just wouldn't have worked. Also, maybe the environment of Muken is, like, not conducive to that. Like, it has, like, anti-keto shit all over it, so you probably can't use it down there. But at any rate, he uses Kuro Hitsuji. That's pretty sweet. Everybody else retreats. retreats back to the lab, and this is where Byakuya is like, you do realize freeing Eisen is like a slap in the face to all of us. And he's just like, listen, man, you can shit on me all you want after we protect the Seirete. After the Seirete is over, feel free to punch me, feel free to stab me, feel free to give me whatever, you know, admonishment or remonstrance you want to give me. You know what I mean? That's fine. But can we at least save the fucking world first? Can we save the world first, Byakuya, before we do the little bit, like, I don't know, man, the honor here is just not feeling right. It's like, whatever, we still exist at the end of it, so that's what matters. That's what really matters. Shunsui's like, am I the only damn person that understands what the court guard squad is all about? Am I the only guy that gets this? Nanao, am I the only one that gets this? Nanao's like, I get it. I'm like, okay, there we go. Thank God. Somebody with sense. All right. So, Kurohitsuji dissipates, and all the eyeball monsters are just destroyed. Urahara and everybody comes back out, and Eisen is surprised that the chair is still there despite being hit by Kurohitsuji. Not surprising that it's built out of the same stuff as the cross in Muken. So there it is. I think there were some initial translations of the chapter that do mention that it was made out of a stronger material than the cross, but it makes sense that it's made out of the same stuff, because they're, you know, and obviously the Seirete, the Shinigami, they're gonna throw everything they have at Eisen to imprison him down there, and it's even brought up here when Eisen attempts this next thing. Yeah, it's quite the chair. There it is. The meme is live. The meme is live. Eisen in his chair. Best ship 2024. There you go. So he's like, okay, I'm not quite done yet. I'm not quite showing you how much stronger I am than all of you yet. So for my next trick, I'm going to use just my Ryatsu to yank the goddamn Soul Palace right out of the sky. I'm going to do that. All right? Okay. So, now, here's the thing. This doesn't work, but I kind of wanted it to. I kind of wanted it to happen. Can you imagine? Because basically what they end up doing is, they have to build the gate to attack the Soul Palace, to go to the Soul Palace to wipe out the Quincy's. But eventually, at the end of all of that, Yuha is going to go back down to the Soul Society anyway. So part of me kind of like wishes that Eisen would have just shot down the Soul Palace. So, like, you know, Yuha's up there trying to absorb the powers of the Soul King and is, wait, what the hell? It's going down! And then it crashes into the Soul Society. And then we just have everybody there. Like, Ichigo's group is there. Shunsui's group is there. Eisen is there. Because Eisen really doesn't get to do... Like, this is the last time we see Eisen do anything in the manga until, like, the last 3 or 4 chapters of the series. They leave him here. They don't take him with them to the Soul Palace. They just leave him here. Which is not a bad idea. I mean, like, you probably shouldn't bring him to the Soul Palace. But, like, they just leave him in the Soul Society, and then, yeah, Yuha goes back down at the end of the story, and then they have the fight there, right? So, I kind of wish that, you know, could Eisen have even done this? Like, would this have worked? It's Eisen, so I want to say that, yeah, probably, like, it's Eisen, so if he was completely unencumbered by the restraints, maybe he could have done that, or maybe this is a case where he is just, like, you know, spilling bullshit. He's just blowing smoke up everybody's asses, like, oh, yes, if you have business at the Royal Palace, I'll just shoot it down for you. I could do that. Why not? Yeah, big whoop. Want to fight about it? All right. So, Eisen tries to do that. He shoots a giant fuck-off pillar of his Ryatsu up through the canopy of the Seirete. And right where things are looking like it's actually, maybe can he actually do this, all of a sudden his Ryatsu gets pushed back down to him. It just gets like, whoosh, just, you know, wiped back down into him. And Eisen's pretty shocked by this. He's like, I see what's going on here. And this is the point where Shunsui and then Mayuri also shows up and explains, like, exactly what's going on here. Like, the restraints that you are wearing do not cancel out your Ryatsu. They keep it close to your body. We've already explained this. However, the force that is used to keep that Ryatsu close to your form, close to your body, is immensely strong. Like, it is essentially the apex of the research and development's, you know, creation. It is essentially the culmination of the thousands of years that the Seirete has been around to kind of try to, you know, restrain renegade Soul Reapers and, you know, dangerous individuals. And so there's no way you're going to be able to break through that. And Mayuri shows up to give a better explanation of this. They actually cut out some of Mayuri's dialogue. from the manga. I'm actually going to read this to you here. So he just explains here that the restraints were never designed to cancel Ryatsu. They're going to just, keep it close to you. And there's a little device, this thing right here. So he's like, do you really believe your power can exceed my technology? And Eisen kind of wants to kick off a little bit of a pissing contest here where he's like, okay, well, how about you dial up that restraint to its maximum and see what happens, okay? You know, immovable object versus unstoppable force kind of thing. But there is a piece of dialogue they cut out here. A Soul Reaper's spiritual pressure springs eternally as long as their heart continues beating. It is impossible to stop that flow without stopping their heart. All of those in Muken prison are sinners that cannot be killed for one reason or another. There is no executioner in the Soul Society that can stop their hearts. Okay, and so then Mayuri goes on to explain what he's explaining here in the anime. So I'm interested, and they cut that part out, because that implies so many different things on why they can't stop Aizen's Ryatsu, and there's other prisoners in Muken that are also immortal. That's also, I think, referencing, I think one of the Kenpachis is imprisoned down there in the light novels. I think it's the 8th Kenpachi that's imprisoned down there. That's not, of course, he's not even referenced, obviously. But the idea is Muken isn't just for Eisen. There are other prisoners down there that cannot be killed, and that's where they put them. They put the Undying lot down in Muken, right? And they imprison them using these this dial and this technology and kind of stuff, right? So, this is where Mayuri and Eisen are just like, okay, whatever. All right, fine. You want to see if you can do something with that there, see what happens. But the Quincy's show up before that could really go down. So we have Najakoop. I thought he died in the I really did think in Core 2 they just had this dude be killed, but no, he's back. He didn't die. Kubo actually revealed in a club outside, because we're going to see Nanana here, and we're also going to see Basby. There's Basby there, and Latato and Giselle are also there. There's the Quincy's that have survived the Aswalen. Kubo revealed that, the reason that these ones survived and, others like Robert Akutron died is because they are, younger Quincy's that also have a lot of, talent and a lot of, potential. So he's really just, the fact that they did survive the Aswalen and they were able to keep their powers intact while doing so just proves how strong they are. Basby still has the ability of H, the heat, and we saw Nanana use U, the underbelly. Latato still has G, the gluttony, and Giselle still has Z, the zombie. All of their abilities stayed intact even though they had the selection performed on them. Also, fun fact, Latato, I believe, was confirmed to be the strongest member of the Bambis. And Bambietta was actually, I think, one of the weaker ones. But I think Latato is the strongest. And then Meninas, I think, is the second strongest, is how that ranking goes. And then you also have Giselle there. Yeah, so Nanana shows up and uses his morphine pattern, his underbelly ability on Eisen, which basically, if he observes an enemy long enough and gets a handle on how their Ryatsu is and how it's laid out, he can kind of scan them with this grid pattern. And then he can kind of see the gaps and openings on their in their Ryatsu, and he targets those gaps, and then that kind of stuns them. Under normal circumstances, this should knock you out for a long period of time, and then Nanana can just kill you. Now it's Eisen, so it doesn't exactly go that way, where Eisen is perfectly still because of the chair, and so Nanana compares him to oh, I can just literally stand there. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's not even going to be difficult for me to attack you because you're not moving. And so he uses the technique at full power on Eisen, and it doesn't even knock Eisen out. It stuns his Ryatsu for a few minutes, which honestly is pretty impressive for Nanana to do that, but it doesn't even knock him out. He's kind of in this kind of in this locked-in move, but he is still conscious. So yeah, that's an interesting scene there. So they're okay, enemies are here. What's going on? Are you guys working with us? Are you against us still? How's this going on? Things have kind of changed since you guys invaded. Things are a little different now, what with the death of God and all. So where are you guys standing here, right? And so Shunsui is hey, we agree that you don't want the Royal Palace shot down too. Want to join up with us? We're going to head up there in a little bit. We could actually kind of use your help considering what we're going to need to do to get up there. So you want to help us out here? And Nanana is the one that steps up first, and he's like, oh, there's no way we're helping you assholes. You know, we can't have the royal palace shot down because that's where Yuha is. That's where our king, our god, our majesty is right now, so we can't have that happen. So there's no way we're helping out you Quincy's. And then Nanana immediately gets shot by Basby. And just immediately, we're not with him. We don't, he does not speak for us. Just die. And so this is the point where Nanana dies. This is the point where I honestly thought in Core 2 they were just going to kill Nanana and he just wasn't going to show up for this scene, because it really wouldn't have mattered either way. The purpose of this scene is to knock out Eisen for like a couple of minutes so he doesn't bother anybody while they're charging the gate up, is basically what Nanana was there for. So I thought, okay, all right, they're keeping him around. All right, so Nanana's dead. Basby's just like, yeah, we don't listen to that guy. We'll give you a hand. We have revenge plots. We have revenge stories. I gotta go up and I gotta fight my best friend from childhood. Latato and Giselle want to kill Yuha. It's a whole thing. We'll help you. It's cool. We're not really on your side, but yeah, you get where it goes from here. Okay. So it's like, awesome. Yeah. Yuha also left us for dead. So that's another reason why, we want to kill him. It's just like, we're not just going to listen to him anymore. Okay. He might be Quincy Jesus, but, we've decided to cast him off. And here's where we get the cutaways for the episode. We get the torrent of the Rayo's power, and we also have Kurohitsuji, which is Hado 90 Black Coffin, which is like Eisen's favorite move. He can use Hados that are higher than this. He actually does use the highest level Hado in the story at the end, like the 5-ringed dragon or something, Hado 99. But Kurohitsuji seems to be like his favorite because it is pretty badass. I mean, you got to admit it is pretty badass. Even Uehara is capable of a Hado that's stronger than this, Senju Koten Taiho. But it's his thing. It's his signature move. Don't take it away from Eisen. You know how it is, right? I remember that Bleach game I was talking about earlier, Dark Souls, and dude, Kurohitsuji, when you use it, just takes a huge chunk of power out of every single person you use it on. It's great to use Kurohitsuji in that game. Okay, so we get a brief shot of inside of the Garganta where we see an individual with a shoe. Oh man, a shoe with like, I don't know, panther, cheetah, jaguar maybe-esque teeth. And blue hair? Man, I don't know who this guy is, guys. Wait a minute. I know who it is. Ukiura. Ukiura is back with a new hairstyle, and he's here to save the day. Yeah, no, of course, it's Grimmjow just kind of hanging out, just kind of waiting. All right, so this is where we get a little bit of a change from the manga, and it's a change that I really enjoy. Okay, so the way that this goes down originally, the way they open the gate, is Uehara presents the spheres to all of the members of the court guard squad that are in the lab. So, like, the captains and lieutenants, like Rukia, Renji, Byakuya, and everybody that's in there, right? And they charge up their Ryatsu into the orbs, and that creates the gate. But there's a problem even with the Quincy's helping them and everything, and the Visors are going to show up here in a minute. They don't have enough power to create the gate. So Mayuri shows up out of nowhere and is like, why don't you just use the Ryatsu amplification machine that I definitely have? Something that just kind of comes up out of nowhere, like, okay. And I was kind of happy in this episode that they did something else instead of using by the way, I have this machine that just does this, They end up using the Ryatsu amplification machine in the next episode, which is I'm actually okay with because of what they do here. They're basically doing a thing where everybody does their best to create the gate. Everybody is putting forth an effort to create the gate. Not just like Shunsui and Byakuya and Shuhei and Rukia and everybody, but all of the Shinigami that are in the Seirete get a message. Attention all members of the 13 Court Guard squads to gather together and use the Ryatsu to create the gate. That is fucking awesome. So we have Zenosuke Kuromadani, who is the former guardian of Karakura Town. We have Afro Shinigami that shows up here. We have Rikichi, who is like Renji's like fanboy. He just really likes Renji. He looks up to him. That's why Rikichi has that little tattoo on his eyebrow. He's like mimicking Renji's tattoos. That's really cool. We also get Shino and Ryunosuke right here. And Ryunosuke even has a really cool moment where Ryunosuke's like, Shino, I can walk on my own. I don't need you to carry me anymore. I can do this because if I can't call myself a Soul Reaper. That is cool. By the way, once again, Shino and Ryunosuke, they are well and truly out of the manga at this point. They show up in, like, the first 10 chapters of the Thousand Year Blood War Arc, and then they are gone. We never see them again. So at least the anime, they don't do anything important, but they're at least sprinkling them through the Seirei, like they're actually doing stuff. At least they haven't forgotten about them, so that's cool. All right. So they're all getting together. They're all gathering up at the lab. Mayuri activates this really freaky thing where like a bunch of feet and fingers are like holding up the lab as this little thing creates where they forge the gate. And then all of the surviving Shinigami are walking out through the rubble, gathering together to create the gate. I need all of your help. I need to borrow your spiritual pressure. I need you to help me create the gate. And that's so cool. That, I think, works way better. Like I said, they still use the kind of Deus Ex Machina Reiatsu amplification thing in the next episode, but that just makes it sound like that's Mayuri's contribution. Like, all of the Shinigami are putting forth their efforts to try to make this gate, and this is what Mayuri's contribution is to that. That's the way I look at it, and it makes it just, the flow of this and the music and the tone works way better here in the anime than in the manga, where it just kind of comes off as like, we don't have enough power, Captain. Yes, we do. Beep. All right. And then that's kind of just how it comes off. All right. Anyway, so Kenpachi walks out. This is a scene that happened way further back in the manga. Like, at this point in the manga, by the way, we are at like chapter, like, hold on a minute. We're like chapter, like we're like in the 620s. This is like something that would have happened like 8 chapters ago when Kenpachi walked out of the med bay and he's like, okay, whatever, I need to go find Yachiru. And now actually has to step up in front of him here and just kind of give him the business of like, hey, Yachiru is being looked after right now. They're trying to find her. They have a better chance of finding her than you do, and we need you right now, and we need your Reiatsu, and we need your power, Captain Zaraki, so stay put. And then now kind of stands up to Kenpachi here, and this is a really cool scene in the manga. So I'm glad they did incorporate this in. They didn't forget about this scene. It's just, they moved some stuff around, and I'm fine with that. It makes really no difference fundamentally whether she does this, you know, in the lab or outside. You know, there's really no difference. So it's all good. And Kenpachi is like, all right, fine, I guess. I suppose. I guess if we go to the Soul Palace and get to fight somebody, fine. But I want to fight a giant hand. Okay, that's a weird kind of request, but I guess we could find you a giant hand to fight. Then after that, I want to fight a Viking. Okay, yeah, okay. We'll find you a giant hand and a Viking to fight, Kenpachi. That's fine. All right, then. I guess if that's good, then we're good then. All right, fine. I've always wanted to fight a Viking. All right. So anyway, they all gather together. Just the whole like gathering of all of the Shinigami in the background is such a cool. Adds more deference to this scene, I would say. All right. And Shunsui kind of brings it all together by giving this really cool motivational speech, man. He's like, if we fail, not just the Soul Society, but all of existence, the whole world, all of it will be destroyed. There's Imura. He's in the 4th division. You know, there's Renji and Basby standing side by side. There's Rikichi and Shino and Ryunosuke. This is our fight. We are Shinigami. We are the 13 core guard squads. Also some Quincy's. Oh! You know, it's like, yeah. What is it that you risk your lives for? Oh, look at Rukia there. Rukia's like, okay, this is cool. We're getting a cool motivational speech here. We're going to get some temporary HP from Shunsui here. Yeah, this is cool. Soifone, Byakuya's looking like Byakuya. Urahara's like, yeah, we're going to be storming the Royal Palace. Yeah, let's do this. Are you ready, Soul Reapers? Woo! Yeah! It's like a concert. All right. At this point, the Visored show up, so Hiyori, Love, and Hachi and Lisa are there. Hiyori and Shinji have their little back and forth, which is really funny. There's this joke here with Soyphone that's really funny where he's like, oh, hey, Hiyori is calling me bowl cut. Yeah, Soyphone, she must be talking to you. It's just like, I will kill you, Shinji. You know, I don't hate you as much as Uehara, but I will kill you. It's like, it will happen. So Hiyori dumps the, what is this stuff called? The dimensional goo? I don't know, the dimension goo? Yeah, the dimension jelly. She pours that into the little pool that they're all standing in, and they're going to change into their Shihakshos, get ready for the battle, and yeah, so that's the situation with the Vizards. Now, there is something that I did not realize the first time when I was reading this, and to be fair, I did not realize this when I was even watching this episode. I did not realize this until just right before I filmed this video, but it's actually very fascinating. So, what about Mashiro? Yeah, right, okay. So, we have the Vizards, we have Shinji, Rose, and Kensei that became captains again after, after Aizen's attack and everything. And Rose and Kensei, they got defeated by Mask, and they got turned into zombies, so they're taken out of the battle right now. They had their moments in the arc. Kensei used his Bankai, Rose his Bankai. That's cool. They had their moments, right? Shinji got to even use his Bankai, Happo Fusagari. That was really cool. I hope that we get to see him use it again. Maybe once he gets to the Soul Palace. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. His Bankai is a little weird, so it makes sense if we don't see it again. But it was cool that we saw it. Actually, we don't even see Shinji have a fight in the Soul Palace in the manga, so I'm hoping he does get a fight with somebody. I don't know who, but somebody, right? Okay. So that's fine, and that's good, and that's dandy. Then we have Hachi, Love, Lisa, and Hiyori here, who were the Shinigami that stayed, the Vizards, well, they are Shinigami, the Vizards that stayed in the world of the living, and now they're coming over to the Soul Society to help them. So the only Vizard left, aside from Ichigo, who is he's up at the Soul Palace, he's doing his business, the only other Vizard is Mashiro, and we actually do see her in this episode. Okay, right there, you got Mashiro next to Maki Maki of the 11th Division, actually, ironically enough. Why aren't they bringing Maki Maki? Come on, guys, Maki Maki's right there. But it's so weird to me. It's so weird to me that Mashiro isn't even mentioned because she was a member of the Vizards for 100 years. She's part of their group. And, Kensei and Rose are taken out. I can understand maybe Mashiro wants to stay with Kensei. That's the only argument I could really make here. But it's weird that she's the only Vizard that is down in the crowd with everybody, and she's not up there. Okay, look. She's the super lieutenant, but she's a lieutenant. She was the lieutenant of Squad 9, okay? Shuhei is still the lieutenant. She's the super 9th Division lieutenant. She has the power level of lieutenant. She should not be down there with Maki. She should be up there. She should honestly be going to the Soul Palace with them. There's really no reason why she shouldn't be going. If Ikkaku and Yumachika, Hanataro even ends up going. If they're all going to the Soul Palace, there is no fucking reason why Mashiro should not be going, all right? There isn't, okay? But I guess maybe she wants to stay where Kensei is because it is kind of implied during the Turn Back the Pendulum. She does kind of have feelings for Kensei, sort of. There's a scene when they're camping out in the Rukongai district, and she's having kind of a sexual dream about Kensei, a little bit. There's a reference to that. So maybe she has feelings for Kensei or whatever, and maybe she's like, I'm not leaving him. I'm going to stay down here with Kensei, my captain. It's okay, I can understand that, but it is a little weird that she is the only Vizard that's not up there, and in the manga she's pretty much completely forgotten about. This shot right here in the anime is, we don't get this in the manga, she's just not even mentioned. We get a scene with her way earlier on when she's training with Shuhei, and she shows up and she's like, I'm the super lieutenant, and that's kind of all we get, and she never pops in again. So I'm sorry, Mashiro, I'm sorry, you're the one Vizard that everybody kind of forgot about, and you don't get to go to the Soul Palace, but okay, I guess. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I just realized I didn't even notice that until recently, so whatever. Okay, and by the way, Love too. Love has a Bankai. We haven't seen it, but Love definitely has a Bankai. He was captain of Squad 7. So I want to see Love's Bankai in this too. Let's rock and roll here. Rose, Shinji, and Kensei are putting their lives on the line. We can't just leave it like it's none of our business. So they all go off to get changed in their Shihakushos. Eisen regains his, mobility. He can use his Ryatsu again. He's like, oh, that Quincy gave his life and used all of his power, and he was only able to stun you for a few minutes. I almost feel sorry for him over there. And Eisen is like, no, Dad, you shouldn't be feeling sorry for him. If anything, you should be, giving him, praise, because that was the first time I have ever been immobilized for 5 whole minutes. So he was definitely capable of doing some cool shit. So even Eisen's giving Najakup some praise. He's dead now, but hey, getting some praise from Eisen, that ranks up there like getting praise like when Might Guy got praise from Madara Uchiha, you know what I mean? That's something. Yeah, that's something to go with there. Okay. So they begin to forge the gate to the Soul Palace here. And they mention the only reason this is even possible is because Ichigo went up there, and that's, busted through the different layers, and that's how this was able to be maintained. Soifone has a line here where it's like, hey, because Shunsui brings up, like, we might not be able to come back. You understand that, right? Like, we might not be able to get back here. A return trip might not be feasible. And Soifone's like, oh my god, Shunsui, would you just let it go already? Like, we're obviously going to go to try to save the world. Your disrespect for assuming that we would cower just because we might not be able to come back. I mean, that's not how we are. That's not how we do things about you, Urahara. So it's like, she's kind of pissed that he's, like, treating them maybe, like, he's, like, coddling them a little bit. He's treating them like children a little bit. Like, okay, I can't reveal the whole part of the story because then they might not go with it. And it's like, dude, we are all battle-hardened warriors at this point. We're captains. We know what we're doing kind of shit, right? Okay. And all that Kenpachi cares about is crushing those bastards, which is a very Kenpachi way to say that. I love this scene right here with Renji and Bazby, because Bazby was, like, praising Renji's tattoos earlier. Like, you got some really cool eyebrows. And Renji's like, you like my eyebrows? And like, they had to fight very briefly, but now it's like, okay, I guess we're on the same side. So it's like, yeah, you really do have some cool eyebrows, man. Oh, man, I was going to say your hairstyle looked awesome. I love that mohawk. And Rukia's just at the background, just like, I don't get this conversation, but okay. Giselle's back there just like... just like, I don't know what's going on. All right, okay. Right. So Eisen has a little bit of a moment where he's just like, so Shunsui, can they protect the Soul Society together? Can this actually work? Can Quincy's and Soul Reapers get together? How this all goes down. All right, so this is something they also changed, and I'm really glad they changed this too, because this was kind of dumb in the manga. I'm going to be straight up with you, okay? So we see Ichigo being unconscious here, which makes sense because he got a hole blasted through his, like, lung in the last episode with Uryu, okay? So, in the manga, what happened? Ichigo did not get a hole blasted through him at all. Uryu shot one arrow at him. Ichigo grabbed it and broke it. So Ichigo didn't even get hurt from that. Orihime uses Santen Keshun to grab him as he's falling out of the sky, and Ichigo kind of stumbles a little bit, and then Cone pops out of his Shihakusho, and that knocks Ichigo back, and he bumps into Orihime. Like, he knocks heads with Orihime, and that's how Ichigo loses consciousness in the manga. And they kind of play it off as a gag. Like, Ichigo, you're unconscious. Oh, it was because of, like, some silly gag. No, this makes more sense, because he had a hole blasted through his freaking chest by Uryu, one of his closest friends, and now he's back. Now, obviously, Orihime used her powers to heal Ichigo and Yoruichi as well. Her arm was mangled by Pranita, but obviously this is what Orihime does. This is her power. It is mentioned, though, that she's a little weakened. She was kind of exhausted doing it. Oh no, oh, this is so, man, I wonder if these two are going to get together. I just don't know. I don't know. The subtext is just, it's not clear enough here. Oh, that's nice, though. I'm just a bit hungry after all. So Chad is like, oh yeah, Orihime used her powers, on like nonstop to heal you and Yoruichi, so she's a little bit exhausted right now. So they're bringing up Uryu. Is like, did he really betray us? Like, well, he shot me. Shot a hole through me, so that's a little bit of a problem there. So Cone does show up here, except Cone is kind of mentioned as, like, Cone uses his power to, like, cushion their fall. So they think Kon is dead, so they kind of start praying to him. Whereas in the manga, Ichigo just kind of like yells at him for messing up and like appearing out of his Shiakusho and knocking him into Orihime. So he kind of yells at him in the manga, and here they're kind of praying for Kon. Like, Kon, you gave your life so that we could be safe. Good job, Kon. Good job. They also landed in Kirio's palace. Because in the background there, you see, like, the domed buildings of Kirio's palace. That's pretty neat. Okay, so with that all being said, everybody's okay. Chad, Ganju, and Orihime, they didn't really get injured at all from their battle with the Royal Guard. Ichigo's patched up. Yoruichi's patched up. And now it's time to begin the counterattack against the Soul Palace. So with that being said, Yoruichi is now going to activate the Garganta here with this little stake that she imprinted in the ground. We're going to find out more about that in the next episode, exactly how all this works. Yeah, that's Kirio's palace. And now it's time to activate the Garganta. And it opens up, and we got Grimmjow. We got Grimmjow Jaggerjack. Espada 6, or I guess former Espada number 6. Been a while, Kurosaki. Oh, man. Back by popular demand, it's Grimmjow. I like Grimmjow. I liked Ukiura more, to be honest with you, but Grimmjow was always a pretty damn cool character. I gotta be honest with you. He was pretty cool. So he was, of course, in the Garganta earlier. So we get the ending scene here, the ending credits, and we do have a post-credit scene, I think, here, where Yuha is now absorbing the Soul King, and his appearance begins to change. And, you know, this is something that, like, I get it, but even when I was reading the manga, I was kind of like, okay, so Yuha basically just gets a bunch of eyes. You know, his eyeballs all open up at the same time, right? That's his new appearance. And the Quincy's are, like, really off-put by that. Like, Askin is like, you know, is like, what is he, some kind of monster or something? And I always just thought to myself, like, is it really that shocking? He basically, his like, the upper half of his face just becomes darkness, and it's covered in eyes, which is weird. But, like, it's not, like, that weird. I mean, he already had a lot of eyes already. That was kind of his ability already. I mean, he has bigger eyes now. It's like, okay. I mean, Askin is like, what the hell's going on, man? I'm like, I don't know. It's just, okay, that's whatever. So anyway, this is where it begins, though. The eyeball monsters down below are now gathering up chunks and debris of the Quincy City to drag it up to the Soul Palace as Yuha begins his renovation. He is now the new owner of the Rayo Soul Palace, and now he needs to make some adjustments, okay, to make it livable for him, you know, nice flow for entertaining, right? So anyway, yeah, that's the end of the episode here. From now on, it's a new world. For the new world. Okay, and yeah, the next episode is going to be The Holy Newborn, which is already out. I just haven't reviewed it yet. Hopefully I'll get... There actually is no One Piece chapter coming out this week. One Piece had a 2-week break very suddenly, so I do have more time to work on this now. So maybe this Friday or this Thursday or Friday, I might have time to put out episode 32, and then I'll be back on track. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. This was a little bit of a longer episode, but a lot of stuff they added to it. Remember to check out BAN-KAST YouTube channel, subscribe to that, and then Spotify, Google Play. That's where you'll find the podcast over there. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Teching 101 signing out, and let me know down below what you think about the Mashiro situation. Poor Mashiro.